What is up, everybody? This is Mycophile Sage checking in here. And before we get started for episode 2 of Trips That Changed My Life, new subreddit is up. It's called Mycophiles. So please check it out if you want or not. Basically, it's a space I created out of popular demand. It's a space where you can post pictures, you could post questions, you could, sort of show off or whatever. Ask people, is this Catan and all that. So I check it as much as I can. It's already building up to be a nice little community. So check it out if you're interested. So the last couple of days I've been struck down by the coof, and boy, my throat still hurts like crazy. I still got a little fever. It's around 37 right now. But at the peak it was at 39.7. So yeah, it was pretty intense. Now I'm getting better, so thank you for all the well wishes. So yeah, let's get to this episode. I'm sick of just lying around in bed for days, so I'm just gonna do this. So this trip happened shortly after the first one. I'd say about a month after the first experience that I told you guys in episode 1. And this trip was it's funny, like this series is called Trips That Changed My Life, right? And I seriously mean it. These 3 trips, these 3 big trips, it's 4 trips, but these 3 trips that I'm going to be telling you in these first 3 episodes truly changed my life. And it was like every trip just built on the last, and it was just all of it was just perfect. It was just exactly what I needed in my life. It was just perfectly like designed almost. It was like building up for it. And the 3rd trip is the big one that really solidified everything. So that's the big one. So I can't wait to tell you guys about that one. But this one was also very important and integral in that process. So basically what happened is, it was also on Liberty Caps. What happened was I recently met up with a couple of new friends. They were kind of stoners. Not kind of stoners, they were huge stoners, but I was happy to meet them because I was also a stoner at the time. Well, not a stoner, but like I did, I was experimenting with stonerism. And so I was happy to find this group of friends. They were like pretty chill, pretty funny too. I'll call them J and S, because I think from what I can remember, basically with this trip, it's not so much the people that I was tripping with that's important. It was more about what was happening inside in comparison to the first trip, which was about the people that I was around and the external situation and what I gleaned from that situation during my trip state. So I go to these guys' house, right? Let's just call them J and S. And I'm in their apartment, and we decide to take mushrooms. Oh man, I'm just getting excited just thinking about it, like going back in time. But we decided to eat mushrooms. I think there were a couple of other people maybe, but I don't really remember. Anyways, it's not important. I take the same dosage as in my first trip of Liberty Caps, which is 1.75 grams. And we sit there and we wait for it to come on. And eventually, surely enough, it starts coming on. And well, you just start feeling, funny. But I wasn't like giggling or stuff. I just felt the trip coming on, and I was like, oh yeah, it's coming on. And so we decided to head outside. This is in the middle of the night. And we like to go to this place called the Quarry. As the name implies, it's a quarry that was abandoned. And it's basically where like a bunch of, people go to smoke weed and just hang out, maybe hike around a little bit. I loved going there. So we start heading out. It felt like a journey in the middle of the night. We're walking, and there was this whole current underneath this trip of like tribalism. Like I just felt really tribal. It was like the moon was out. I don't remember if it was a full moon, but it was pretty bright. And we were just walking, and it was beautiful out. It was like October, and it was just dark, and we're going into the woods. Felt like a huge adventure. And that's the thing that I like about Liberty Caps. With cubes, I immediately just like need to lay down as soon as it starts kicking in, and it's just like bam, it's just. But with Liberty Caps, it feels a lot more lucid. The come up feels a lot smoother to me, and it's just like it's more seamless. The integration into the trip and going down, and the integration into my consciousness, like in the sense that I'm a lot more clear-headed, but I'm tripping still. So we go to the quarry, and it's dark, and we have to hike around, and there's this spot like this little ledge that we like to hang out, this like rock ledge in the quarry. You have to hike a little bit to get there. We go there, and then we start a fire, right? And like we start like, you know, just fooling around, like just walking around the fire like it's some tribal thing. And I start like making sounds like this really tribal thing, and you could just see like everybody just like getting riled up. Like it was just something that spoke to like a primal instinct inside us, like, you know, like apes or whatever. It was just like, ooh, like you could just feel the energy in the air just like start to get like super primal and powerful. And like so it was getting really intense, so I had to stop it, you know, and everybody felt that, you know. So we started cracking up. I was like, holy crap, that was crazy. And on the rock, you know, with the fire there and the shadows and everything, like the rock, you know, I remember seeing like all these crazy patterns on the rock, overlaid almost onto the rock surface. It was really, really good. And basically, I don't remember exactly where. Like with trips, it's hard to remember everything, especially when it's been so long. But I remember the main thing that I gleaned from this trip was the concept of being. All right, let me explain. During this trip, at some point in this trip, I just started saying, I'm just being. I'm just being. I'm just being. And I was telling everybody, like, I'm just being. I'm just being. Sounds annoying, but, you know, it was such a revelation to me at that time. And nobody really understood it, but it was a total revelation to me. At that point, I truly understood what Shakespeare meant when he said to be or not to be. Because, like, I knew the quote, but I was just like, oh, that's just some, you know, like yeah, it's a famous quote, but I didn't really know what actually, like, I never thought about what does he mean to be, you know? I never thought about that, really. Like, I just took the quote for granted, and I was like, oh, this is what he was talking about. This is what being is. It's completely different to how I operate in my daily life, but being is the best way I could explain it, is this state where you're just in the moment and you're completely filterless. Like there's no ego filtering things. You're just being who you are, free, no expectations from anyone, no expectations from yourself, just doing what feels right, just naturally, just flowing with the universe. That's literally what it was. Like, you know, no fear, no past, no future, just now, just enjoying life. That's to be, just being me, right? Just no strings attached, no conditions, just being. It's like the meaning of life, right? It's not complicated. It's to be, it's to just live, you know, no overcomplication. That's the point. It's like, why does a dolphin live? You know? Well, what is the point of a dolphin's life? It's to just be a dolphin. What's the point of my life? It's to just be me. There's no great grand scheme. It's not like I have to accomplish X, Y, and Z, you know, which is fine if that's how you be. But if that's something that you feel that you have to do from some outside pressure or whatever, and it's not serving you, like if you're doing it for some other reason, maybe some egotistical reason, you know, and if that's still what you want to do, that's fine. But what I'm saying is that in this trip, I learned that this is the meaning of life. It's to just be, you know, to be a human being, to be who I am personally, to be who you are, you know. It's not complicated at all. And I don't know the best way I can explain what I'm trying to relay here, because I'm not doing it too well, I don't think. But essentially, thinking about it, it's like it seems very simple to just be, but it is so deep at the same time, you know. I always thought, even before this trip, it's kind of silly how, you know, philosophers and people would be like, why am I here? What is the meaning of life? Oh, but I just never understood it. It's just like, you know, it's just to be there. Feel it. Just be. Just feel it. Stop thinking with your brain, just feel it. You know it's right. And you know, yeah, there's probably a big meaning of life or whatever, but I mean, it's at the point of, you know, the meaning is something that we create in our minds, right? It's something we create in our minds, and our minds are so limited. You know, we are spiritual beings. Our mind is just a tool. So it's like what's the point of even trying to understand it through your mind? It's just limiting yourself. Just feel it, and you feel your instincts and know that it's right. So, you know, even though it seems like a very simple thing, it's actually a very deep thing, is what I want to say. It's simple on the surface, but it is actually a very, very deep practice. It's the art of living. It's everything. Anyways, that's my best way. That's my best attempt at explaining. Back to the video. And it was a great revelation to me. I was like, wow, I didn't know this mode of existence existed, because I was so stuck in my mind. And I think a lot of people are, you know, or people think that they're not stuck in their minds. But until this experience, I didn't realize that I was stuck in my mind in the first place. So it was a really liberating and mind expanding experience. And that was the huge revelation in that trip. I truly understand what it means to be. And so that was the major thing that I learned from this trip. And I forgot to mention in my first trip, but a theme that runs through trips for me, and I'm sure many other people, is meeting the higher self, your higher self. Especially during these first trips, I felt it really, really strongly, meeting my higher self. It was just like meeting my potential, you know, meeting who I really am, who I'm supposed to be, who I can be, who I am, but in everyday consciousness, I'm not there yet. You know, like basically my self-actualized self. I could meet it during the trips. So I'll get more into that in the next Trips That Changed My Life episode. So this episode's a little shorter than the last one, but it was a very significant trip. So yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a good one, guys. And remember, check out Reddit Mycophiles if you're interested. All right, guys, have a good one. Mycophile Sage, checking out.